We made Pat small. Now it's time to make him big.
Mm-hmm.
And we're live.
Hey,
How's it going?
Oh man, you're freaking everybody out.
I hope so. That's what I go for in the first couple minutes.
it's always
Hello.
a carnival ride with you.
It is. Hello, and welcome to My Whiskey Den, your favorite public access whiskey review show where craft whiskey is king. And that's what we're talking about tonight. We're going to be talking about a Wisconsin distillery in Door County. But like as always, before we go 1 second further, Mike, what do we have to tell these lovely people?
Well, first of all, we need to tell you to like, comment, share, subscribe, hit that bell notification, interact with the nice people in the chat if you're watching us live. Don't forget that thumbs up. If you're watching us after the fact, please comment down below. Your comments mean something. We actually read them. And the people that are watching live are really nice people, and we love them a lot.
Mm-hmm. And it's great to have you here, just like it is great to have Kevin Rose with us tonight from Bourbon Turntable. Thank you very much for being with us this evening, Kevin.
Hey, thank you guys for having me. It's always fun to hang out and drink some whiskey and get into some snarkiness.
Yeah, well, and we're having you sub in because we're going to have you come on anyways, but Ben's graduating executive bourbon steward class, so he has to have a fancy dinner this evening, so he's choosing not to show up. Just mark that.
Yeah,
That's
well,
not mark.
you just know who you can count on, I guess. I don't know.
I know. You see how it is. And I'm going to say I'm looking over right now, and I feel like I have a double Al Borland thing going on because you guys got the same flannel shirt.
I know. Yeah, we
Kinda
commented on
freaking
that.
me out. Well, I'm not in the chat.
It's not on purpose.
No,
It's
was
not on
not
purpose.
was not planned. We're not. We don't go shopping together for clothing when Mike visits Louisville. So
Well, we don't not go shopping together.
Yeah, didn't quite clarify that as much as I think we should have on that one. Sorry, I'm grabbing some bottles here because today we are going to be reviewing two whiskeys.
I got to shake this one up.
You're going to shake that one up? Both
It
of
says
them.
it says shake.
It does. It does say shake. The honey one, you should give it a little shake too. We're talking about two whiskeys from Hatch Distillery in Egg Harbor, Wisconsin. I remember meeting Chris Rodell a couple years ago when I first had some of their, not necessarily their stuff, but everyone has whiskey that they got to put out before they can get their own out. They get a nice choice of picking it, but he was very, very clear and transparent then and open about how he wanted everything to be locally sourced, if he could, everything from Door County itself. So everything's highlighting stuff that's going on in the area, especially when you're up there for a visit. So all the grains, just about everything, all in the local area that they're getting up in Door County. So really, really neat, really focused on the grain to glass feature. He did used to work in the agricultural industry, has worked with chickens. But when he kind of switched careers, his wife said he couldn't have chickens at home. So he switched to bees. So much easier to deal with, far less mess. So he started becoming a beekeeper up there, and that's actually what they use for a lot of their clear spirits. I was going to say, so their vodka, the gins, the limoncello, that's all based off of a honey distillate.
oh wow,
So rather than potato and everything else. So a little bit more unique in that one. Kind of like the Mellows, but a little bit different. When we were talking to Dominic DeSano about that. A little bit different style, since he's using to actually make the vodka and the gin and everything rather than just resting it right afterwards. So first one we're starting out with, and I don't know if Mike can get, you might have to make me big, Mike.
I'll make you big, Pat.
Oh. Just slide me over.
Maybe. I'm dude.
Make you big and then grab my little screen and slide me over.
Okay.
That's all right. We'll stop.
There we
Hey,
go.
Now, what I was trying to get at was on the bottle back here. This is named Doc Wahl, and you actually get a picture behind on the back of the label. So the back label actually has a picture on it.
Yeah.
And I was going to say, you can see it.
Can you hold that back up a second?
Yes, I can.
Okay, looking at the bottom, that is a substantial glass hole dimple in the bottom.
Oh,
Yep.
yes, quite.
That is very bell-shaped.
Oh, and it also back here, let me spin it to the front, has a nice little holder for it too. You like a little hand hold when you're doing it. Just a little more grip,
All right.
It's all about the grip.
It's all about the grip.
Hold Doc Wahl up there again so we can see him. Looks a little bit like linen, maybe.
I had that kind of thought too. It looked a little Karl Marx.
Another famous Wisconsinite.
Yeah.
Who knows? Marxists love single malt. I don't know.
They very well might. I'm not gonna deny that. So a little bit about Doc Wahl. This one is the first thing that was all their own grains, all their own distillate, kind of everything. First thing out of their distillery that was all them, which I was waiting for kind of excitedly. Now it's named after Doc Wahl, who kind of big man in the industry. If you don't know too much about him in the past, he was kind of in the late 1900 or 1800s, kind of around 1900, 1909, really big in the fermentation industry and beer. Kind of really big uptick, actually kind of teaching a lot of people in the country. Then Prohibition hits, so he can't do what he's doing in Chicago. He skirts his way up to Door County, buys some land. It has a silo. Apparently this silo has windows built all around the top of it, just in case the fuzz was coming. He could see them from far away, because apparently there may have been some illegal distilling going on inside the silo as he was continuing to work with stuff. So he's known as the Godfather of Fermentation because he, once Prohibition kicks back, gets done, kind of goes back to, let's say, 1935. All of a sudden, he starts teaching at his school, and he ends up being the teacher of 402 of the 700 breweries that had permits at that point. So he taught over half of the breweries in the nation at that point how to brew beer from that point. Oh, favorite other thing I forgot, absolutely love this. He got into a fight with like the European community because he said American 6-row barley was better than European 2-row, and it caused like this big fracas about shit. And then they did the testing, and he was right.
Nerd fight.
Teach those Europeans.
Well, I loved that part. I was like, oh, and stick it to him. So this is made from 3 different types of, I think it's malted barley. Yeah, 3 different varieties of malted barley, 45% alcohol by volume. And let's go back to seeing what you guys think about it, at least on the nose. And you can take me off big screen. Thanks, Mike. I appreciate that.
First thing off the bat with this thing, it hit me of Irish whiskey. There's I get a strong, an Irish feel to it, but an apple butter.
Yeah, I get you with the apple butter. I was thinking of kind of an apple brandy.
Mm-hmm. On the back of the kind of that apple brandy note, I get a nice cinnamon, some baking spice, but not overpronounced.
Yeah, I didn't want to say it, but I was kind of getting a faint McDonald's apple pie.
Okay, the baked apple pie or the old school fried apple pies? There's a difference.
Fried.
The old school fried one.
Yeah.
Fried is significant.
The one that caused 3rd-degree burns inside and outside your mouth.
Caution, filling is hot.
Yes.
Some things just should never have been changed. I don't care who it burned.
That's darn sure. When you take in a really deep nose of it, there's a funkiness right on the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
I'm also getting, I get what you mean. There's a little bit of a cereal note, a bready, yeasty, but I'm getting a lot of little pear, apricot, If I go slow at the top, I can get some berry notes too. Yeah, I'm getting more like deeper red berries at the top of the glass, and I'm smelling up there.
Mm.
A little more complex than what I was thinking for a 2-year-old, because it's only a straight and not too bad a color for a 2-year-old from up here. Yeah. So.
And did you say it's 3 different varietals of malted barley? Is that what they said?
Yes.
That would be interesting to know more about.
Well,
good old American 6-row barley.
Yeah.
Not that European trash.
2-row trash.
Maybe it was a little bit of each and kind of the hybrid that they made from each other, so it's a little family.
That's how I'm going to refer to a group of teenagers when I see them now on. Bunch of 2-row trash. You drive an El Camino just like a bunch of 2-row trash.
Okay, so
I really like this nose a lot.
Irish, I'm like, for me, I get Irish, but almost right on the edge of a Scotch. Like there's
the apple. It's the apple that's doing it. The apple butter. That's what's doing it in the Irish for me.
I get you on that.
Boy, that time I got a real good whiff of cinnamon.
That's just where I was at when you said that too.
This is a fun one.
All right, I'm going in. This is neat on the nose already. A little. So. Cav, we'll let you go first.
I tell you, I was expecting more on the palate based upon what I got off the nose. It's a lot of the same notes, but they feel a lot more subdued.
I think I'm missing on this for me. I'm getting the berry notes for me aren't as pronounced on the palate as they are in the nose for me. Like I'm getting, let me go back here because I'm getting that grainy cereal note, kind of almost like an oaty note.
It's very thin and subdued.
Yeah, there's a little, I don't know, a tobacco note, or maybe I wouldn't think it would be a lot of the oak, considering it's just 2 years old. But there's a bit of a tobacco note or something like that on the finish.
Yeah, I think it just kind of. I like the palate on it, but I think it's if you were into getting a little bit more of a deeper berry note, and I think I was expecting maybe a little more apple, especially like when we were just maybe power suggestion apple butter we're talking about. I was thinking a little bit of that. Says an okay creaminess to it.
Okay, it reminds me that there's a sweetness to it that is like if you had an apple tart with sugar on it. But it's not. The nose would imply that you're going to have a much more rich palate experience.
Yeah,
I think it's very enjoyable to drink. I think you can drink a lot of this very easily.
And I don't think it's. Let me go back again.
And a little chocolate too.
Okay.
At the very end, there's a little chocolate.
Yep. Yeah, there's some chocolate there. That apple kind of shows up again in the finish. A little tobacco. It's good. It's just not as depth of flavor that I thought we might get based upon the nose. And Tim mentioned in the comments that maybe it's the proof point. Maybe that's a little bit low.
I was just going to bring that up about how it's 45%, and to be honest, most of the things we look at usually kind of bump up into the 50 and above range. So, getting the cask strength version of this will be interesting. And plus, as it gets about a year, another year down the road as it goes, I think we might see some. I don't think there was any. What I liked about this is I don't think there was anything bad that was jumping out of it. You know what I mean? Like this was a very, solid. Nothing was sharp. I was going to say, and I think over time, this is even going to come together even more. I think this is for a very first try at things, a release of what you're doing. I think this is a very solid start.
Do we know what kind of barrel they were aged in?
This one, they were new oak, but I think they were smaller. I don't believe they were 53s.
Okay.
I don't know off the top of my head.
All right. Okay.
But they are doing that now, or they were at the point when I was there last. So,
Yeah.
because they were expanding again, which if you haven't, it's a fantastic place to stop at along your way up to Door County. It's right in the main road. There's a brewery on another side, but they're on the right side, nice tucked in, wonderful cocktails, another good place to stop on a little vacation route. I urge people to do those types of things. I think it fits in up there great because there's so many wineries that and some breweries, and they actually have a couple, cideries as well too, or meaderies. But they were missing distillery. You had everything that I want to say was geared a little bit more towards a women's holiday, and this kind of helps pull it back. Not that this is only just for men, but let's be predominantly, most of the market is more men. But it added that extra stop and depth for like, okay, you can go there, I'm going to go here type of thing. It completed, makes everyone happy when you go someplace. In my mind.
Yeah. Now, have you had any of their other spirits, like the gin? Because you said it was distilled from honey.
I have not had any of that stuff. I did have some of their other stuff. Well, that was actually theirs. No, I mean I had a taste of it, but it was 2 years ago, so that's not fair of me to say anything. So
that would be interesting to try.
It's something I can grab, because I was going to say I wanted to see how the gin and the vodka turned out. Plus, they have a lemon seville that I'm like, I think would be interesting with like that honey edge, especially if I think Mike remembers if it was similar to like the mellows, where it was not sugar sweet honey, but like just like the flavor of honey or honeycomb added in. I'm like, I think that might be a really kind of neat punch. No. We can make that happen, Kevin.
No, I think what they're doing is very interesting, and the whole beekeeper angle is something that's very different. I think that's pretty cool.
Okay, I think that's a solid first showing from a distillery.
Absolutely.
Yeah, especially for being a young single malt. Well, and they malted whiskey, whatever.
Yeah, and he really wanted to kind of push that all local. So I'm glad that some of the flavors that are coming out of there are leaning in this direction. I think once you get to a 4 or a 5 year, I think you might have something really special, especially at 2 years up here. It's straight's a little tough in my mind up here. Like malts and ryes, you can get away with it a little bit more. When you get into bourbons, I think in Wisconsin it gets closer to that 4 or 5 year range where it starts to really kind of kick in.
Yeah.
But we do have one more right now. And that one is, I'm going to put the top on because I'm going to have to shake this one. This is the Hatch Distilling Honey Barrel Whiskey. This whiskey that was finished in honey barrels, presumably theirs. Now look how thick and cloudy that thing is.
Oh yeah.
Now I'm gonna give it a good. Hold on here. Like it almost looks like apple pie. Like it has this thick consistency. You can almost you can see some of it kind of waving around in there when it settles out. This is not just their whiskey though. They blended a batch with Panther Distilling, which Mike got to sample some of their stuff last year, the Pike Street Rye that we had, which is actually pretty surprising. I wasn't expecting that out of there. But I was going to say Panther is Minnesota's oldest distillery. So they sent over some, Hatch blended it with what they had, and then put it in one of their honey barrels. This one comes in at 35% alcohol. So not technically whiskey, but whatever. We're gonna let it slide. Let's see what this one goes in at. Oops, I might have poured a heavy hand there.
Oh.
All right, let's see here.
Mm.
Oh, hopefully my sniffer's working. That's not as heavy as what I was expecting.
Yeah.
From as much as what I thought I was getting out of the glass, it wasn't as heavy on the nose as what I was expecting it to be.
And what type
Hey.
of whiskey is it? You said it's finished in the honey barrel?
They were both, I think it was both a bourbon, but it was blended. So I don't know the actual breakdown of each one.
I'm going to warm my glass up a little bit, or try to, but
Yeah.
I think this warm would just be a hot toddy in a bottle.
It could be. Yeah, now that I get in there like this, I'm getting a little bit more lemon zest on the high end.
Yeah. That's what that lemon hit me, and that's what between that and the honey, and like, well, we're there.
Honey, lemon, a little bit of caramel. Nothing too complex, but
Nope. I was surprised.
nice.
I was surprised by the lemon.
It's kind of neat, kind of caramely, creamy first mouthfeel. Then it gets a little thin. Lemon kind of jumps in on it. I'm left with this little sugary, watery aftertaste, feeling like I should have more. I must feel like I lost the wood in this.
It's almost like a simple syrup.
Yeah. I'm like, it almost loses the whiskey flavor. And the honey is like a flattened out honey, so it's not like super sweet.
Right.
Just there is like
No, it's not
bite
like
of-
having Wild Turkey American honey or one of those where it just
Right.
makes your mouth stick together after you've taken a sip of it. This is,
Right.
it's not sickeningly honey, and it's not sticking all over the glass.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at. It doesn't cling to the glass like I thought it would, based upon what it looks like in these little bottles and in the big bottle that Pat's got.
Yeah, it's like I said, I'm getting a little bit of light burn on the sides afterwards, but a lot of it kind of thins out and goes away after about a minute or so.
Yeah.
So it does kind of pull you back into it. Like, I think you hit it with like a simple syrup. I would almost rather use this in some drinks than a simple syrup by far.
Yeah.
Because this is giving you a little bit of punch and just the edge of a bite.
Yeah, I think that could be interesting.
Ewalds, get on it. But I know they've had them both before already, so yeah. Mike, your thoughts?
I like this. I think this would be more fun to drink warm. I think it'd be really nice to have it, put a little bit in some tea, or put it some hot tea, or even some iced tea. It'd probably be pretty good too. But if this had a cinnamon kick to it, I think it'd be a really nice cold weather drink.
Maybe a rye whiskey next time before you put it in the honey barrel? Or the rye might have a little bit too much.
Maybe, or even add to it. Like I've got, one sec.
Oh, yeah. I got one.
Maybe I've got it. Yeah, I got a hair left of this Cat's Eye Krupnik, which is, it's got sediment in it, but it is made with honey, cinnamon, vanilla, and other spices, and it is very much cold weather and fall in a glass, but quite a bit more sweet than this is.
Oh, Renita was saying it's like Garrison's Honeydew. Kind of similar to that. Very similar. Oh, and she hits this. I don't know. I don't have power. Add a splash to an Arnold Palmer.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds really, really nice.
Yeah. Yeah, all I use like Wild Turkey American Honey for is an additive to sweet tea.
And it does very well at that.
Oh yeah, it's fantastic.
I just put them together. And I gotta say, well, I mean, it's kind of like a ritual. It's not bad. Honey is a little bit too much, but it's nice.
I got mine sitting.
It's not a bad blend.
Yeah.
We've run into a couple of them recently that were a little scary.
A little scary.
Mm-hmm.
I did go back and revisit. Do you remember when we did the single malts? We had the one from Restless Spirits, Bull Run, and what was the third one? Anyway, the combination of the three of them was really good.
Mm-hmm.
I went back and I revisited now a couple 3 months later. Pretty good.
Still solid.
They've married up really nice.
Kevin, what are your thoughts on it all together? For me, it's just a titch too sugary.
Yeah. That's why I'm thinking this goes in a cocktail, and where you've got a simple syrup, use this instead, and see what happens. Because I think it's got a great flavor, but it's not something that I would necessarily sit and drink.
No.
Dude, just one after the other. I wouldn't do that.
No.
How much was that bottle, Pat? You remember?
The honey one?
Yeah.
35, 40-ish, somewhere in there.
Is that 375 or 750?
750.
Okay, so
maybe it was 30 because I got to remember when I got it. It was probably like 30. Sorry.
If you're thinking of the cost of making a honey simple syrup at the cost that honey is right now, that would be a fantastic alternative for honey simple syrup with a kick to it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's an excellent idea. I think that's what this rest of the bottle might kind of stick around for, is going to be unique cocktail experiences.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, to be honest, when you get into something like that is what I kind of expect in the first place. You know, I mean, to get like something that's in a honey finish, for me, it's hard to think that it's going to be something that just drinks straight well. I mean, it happens, but it's rare. So
compare and contrast this with Good Times honey finished.
This is thinner.
Mm-hmm.
Good Times is a little bit thicker, heavier, a little bit bolder in the flavors.
Yeah, because it's starting off with a barrel proof whiskey,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
and then finishing it in a honey barrel to draw some of that out.
Right.
Yeah.
I was gonna say the Good Times probably tastes a little. If you're gonna have them side by side, it's gonna taste more complete. But I mean, for exactly what Mike said, I mean, if you take something that's 35 and we take this up to even 50, I think you might be getting a significant difference, and just the barrel notes would kind of come through a little bit more because they fade away quite a bit in here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah. This also could be a good gateway for someone if you're trying to get them into whiskey. They say, I don't like it. Like, well, try this.
Mm-hmm.
And have them work their way into it.
Yeah.
There is zero burn. And that's not because I'm used to drinking, 65%
Right.
stuff. There is zero burn on this at all.
And Aaron's right. It'd be good in a highball.
Mm.
I mean, that'd be a quick, easy one in there.
Yeah.
So
yeah, there's no Kentucky hug. There's no Wisconsin hug. There's no hug.
The
What's
honey
a Wisconsin hug?
That's
kind of big grizzly bearish one.
I don't want to talk about it.
So I don't know. I'm going back to the dock wall before we kick off for the evening here.
Are we doing a blend?
Oh, well, you can do it. I did a blend
Yeah.
already. I leaned into that, and I thought the honey kind of almost sugar coated or pulled a little bit more out of it when it was blended together. Still a decent amount of flavors, but I think I like the Doc Wahl a little. Well, obviously, I like the Doc Wahl a lot better. And we reached out to Chris, so hopefully we'll have him on here in a little bit. Same thing with a couple other people we're going to be doing reviews of shortly. Do we have a guest next week, Mike?
We do have a guest next week. We've actually got a different time slot next week because we are so accommodating to our people and our guests. But we will not have a show next Monday night, and that's not because it's my friend's birthday. It is in fact because we are accommodating our guest, Mr. Drew Crawley, friend of Kevin, who actually introduced him to us all. Drew is former employee of Old Forester. Just released his first EP, which is pretty good. I'll put it back up there. Go to all of your music sources, Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube, everything, and you can get Tower songs off of there. He's a pretty good little songwriter, so very enjoyable. We were talking to Drew about his work history, his whiskey history, and his music, and he's got a lot of history for such a very young man.
Yeah, quite a bit.
I bet you don't get into all of it. So,
yeah. So it should be pretty interesting. So it'll be next Tuesday. We will have a show with Drew.
Yes, that's our next an evening with. And if I saw in the chat right, Tim had a good comment. You can read all about a Wisconsin hug and a stall at Quick Trip.
Yeah.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
Now we're going.
No, I'm back.
He's back. He's flipping around.
But my phone's telling me we've got a little bit of time left. So what do you guys think? Kevin, what do you think about the blend?
I hadn't really tried it much yet, but
We're rushing them.
no, I think there's a Russian on that Doc Wahl bottle. But anyway,
the people's single malt.
It's the people's malt.
you know, this is the blend's pretty good. The Doc Wahl adds a little bit more of a punch to the honey barrel.
You get a little funk out of it.
Yeah, no, I like it.
All right. I'm going back to the main one before we head off this evening. But when we're doing reviews, we're probably going to try to stick to ones where it is just one distillery when we're doing them now. If we got a couple bottles, that way we'll hit the one. And if someone wants to look at it, you can view all three rather than doing a mass assault on your senses when we're going with 4 or 5, even though unless we're doing a theme, then you're going to have to deal with it.
Yes. We got another Wisconsin one.
We do
coming up.
That one I'm excited about. I got some going out to Mitch as well too for that one. We'll be doing
good.
The J. Henry's, the anniversary edition for 2021, and the La Flame release. La Flamme, where Nancy Fraley kind of twisted that in an Armagnac barrel at the end. So
Interesting.
It did kind of jump up the charts for my finished whiskey of the year when I had it. So I'll be intrigued to see what other people thought. Yeah. But it is one you should, I'm going to say, have first, because it does have a nice finish, but it's a little more subtle and nuanced for how things are going on. It's not might be a second or third drink when you get to slow down, you start to pick up on everything that's going on type of whiskey. And then you're like, oh shit.
Yeah. We don't know when we're going to do that one, but
just coming up.
We'll get it. Yes, Mitch, you were mentioned.
Yeah, you were.
Wake up, Mitch.
Let's leave it in the mail. It's on its way to you. So, all right.
In the mail is just an expression.
That's true.
In no way would anything be sent in the mail.
Nope.
Fuck the government.
It has been shipped.
It's been shipped. The mule has left the station.
Yeah. No. You all have a great time with Drew. He knows his stuff from a whiskey standpoint. from a music standpoint, and this record of his is fantastic. I'm very excited for him, very proud of him for what he's done. We were at the release party on Saturday night. He did a show here and had a full band with him, and he killed it. Just killed it. It was fantastic. So I'm biased. I'll admit that. Drew's been a good friend for a few years now, and we now get to do a show together. So yes, I'm biased, but as being as objective as I can, it's a fantastic piece of art. So enjoy.
Yeah, it is good. And full disclosure, he is a friend of ours, and he is as Kevin mentioned, he's on Bourbon Turntable with him and Ben. But seriously, give the album a listen. He's got a lot of story in there for I'll say it again, for such a young guy.
Mm-hmm.
He's got some pretty good stuff that he wrote there. So very, very interesting, very well done, and just talented, very nice guy. So looking forward to that next Tuesday, not Monday.
And I'm excited because he was there when they started. I don't want to say started, but in the midst of releasing kind of their signature set of things that Old Forester was like, this is their dated expressions, like this is what this is what this is 1910. I'm like, I think that's a neat time to be there, because you were like really setting the brand at that point. Like, it's taking off and great now, but at that moment, that's when you were like setting the points of where people were going to entry and showing people that you were willing to try 4 or 5 different approaches to your bourbon or different styles to see what happens. So I think that was really neat, and I'm excited about that. So sorry about that, everyone. But on that note, I think we're getting towards the end here. We should probably hop off and let everyone get back to their lovely evenings. Head on over to Hood Sommelier or Whiskey Crusaders.
Speaking of Old Forester, that's what Whiskey Crusaders is doing tonight.
Oh man, well, there it leads right into it. So
get your old foe on.
Yeah. So I'm going to be on the dock wall on this exit, but thank you, Kevin, for stopping in for a little review this evening. We appreciate your thoughts on all this and stepping in whenever you get a chance.
Well, I appreciate the invitation. It's always fun to hang out with you guys.
Awesome. And Mike, you're on the exit video, so I'm gonna let
we have an exit.
There might be one hidden in there. It should be underneath the other one, but I don't know.
I think you're right.
We might. So remember, it's not the size of the den that matters. It's the love of whiskey. Cheers, everyone.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Let's get into it. 1, 2, 3.
My sound. No video. I don't hear shit. What's going on? Are we even recording? We're still. You didn't end the video.